as the good morning, everyone. As far as the what we can expect 20 years from now, uh, a the big issue is affordability, right? And that's why you see the big builders are building these. You believe it or not, we're in Hamilton. We're building 12 feet. Let me get rid of this.
You need share ability?
What's that?
Do you need to be able to share as well?
No. Yeah, I will need to
Okay.
share. I don't like the tone of this background, but anyway, I don't know why. But
It's very pink.
yeah, and they very nice. So in Hamilton, we're the city of Hamilton building city housing basically. Well, builders for them, right? Contract. The houses are 12 feet wide, three-story
What?
high. Yeah, 12 feet high, wide, and that's
What?
pretty much it. Yeah, it is.
What
Yeah.
is 12 feet in
Well,
in
Three,
12 feet is
3.6 meters.
That's
it's very small.
a sheet of plywood and a half a sheet.
Yeah, well, 1.5 sheets of plywood for sure, for sure.
You
So
see, I
wait,
told
but you're putting
yeah,
in a
we talked about
couch that is
Well,
8 feet.
this is for low income housing, right? And people are happy to live somewhere versus nowhere, right? Which is
Is that because they want to incentivize moving out and getting a better place on your own?
I don't know, maybe perhaps, but it's it's a solution to take the people off the street kind of thing, which is good.
And how much is going to cost?
Well, it's going to be rented or subsidized by the government, right? So,
12-foot house should be pretty cheap.
right, but then again, another trend I see multi-generational housing, basically, where 3-4 people or 3-4 families live together, and
Right.
I've seen demands. Some people come in and go, "Oh, I'd like to buy a $1.5 million house." It's like, oh, great. So must be, good income and everything else. And and again, not judging at all, but they came in on Honda Civic and Ford Focus, and it's like, well, that doesn't click here. What's going on? And then sure enough, another 8 people show up, and it's like, we need to see the property because there's 4 people, right? 4 families live together, and yeah, if you put eight incomes together, that they qualify for sure.
Yeah.
I see it in Greensby actually. I see it in Greensby. A lot of some families do that.
Yeah, and
right now.
some cultures can do that. Some cultures, like Ivan said, would be murder if that was me. I lived with my mother-in-law for about 2 weeks. That was it.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Talking about 2 women in the kitchen for it's one, those things, right?
Yeah.
So that's those 2 trends as far as and that's where modular homes come in when that Sam mentioned too, where it's a kind of a good idea to have a second or third unit on a property where it's totally separate. It's not going to be huge; it's about 500 square feet, but you're looking at an average apartment. I mean, apartments start with 400 square feet nowadays. Like we were just selling a project, MPV project in Toronto, or actually in Brampton. One bedroom was 400 square feet. So
a 1-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom was 400 square feet.
That's correct.
And a living room.
And a living room.
And how much is it? How much is it cost right now?
It was 400. Was the cheapest one was one of them, only one unit, $412,000. And
$412,000. That's what I sold my 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house for in rent. $412,000.
That's in the past. That's in the past. Don't you can't do anything with the past. Let's prepare for the future. So, and that brings me to today's topic.
And people pay it.
Yeah, it brings me to today's topic. How do you find a deal in today's market?
And you can't say North Bay because it ain't cheap there either.
So the question for you, how do you find it? Can you give me some ideas from the floor?
Look for a fire in a house and that you can buy and renovate yourself.
Okay. Anyone else?
My
I don't know
method
whether
to purchase almost anything is I literally scour the entire internet. I look at like what's the best products, and then I literally scour like every like possible like site, every possible area that I can get my hands on.
Okay, anything else?
I'm not too sure, but I think it should be like it depends on the personal priority of the person. Like for example, some people they can't move outside of Toronto. They just can't because they're related to the doctors and they can't live in any other place. So they need to look in Toronto, and you have to. And in Toronto, it's very expensive. So any house over there, it's like right now it's over 1.5, even a small one.
So affordability, basically, right?
Yeah. So
Is there still such a thing as distress sales? Not anymore.
There are other,
I think there is.
not in this market. There are some. I can't say there's no exception. There's always an exception to the rule. But that would be most likely the for sale, like private sale kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
There
gonna
is-
say my second thing is I'm also very patient to find these deals. If you're in a rush like that, you know, that could work against you. But if you just kind of have a patience, like the right deal will eventually come around. It has to.
Okay, okay. But
Will,
we're
may I ask you a question outside of the topic, if it's okay?
sure.
I read yesterday in the news that I don't know, I spoke with somebody and probably I misunderstood something, that people who rented, so before 200s, before 4 years ago when everything like started to boom, so liberals come up with idea regulation of the rent property. And then they saying like you can only increase by 3%, whatever percent you can increase. And now I know that a lot of landlords, they disagree with this kind of idea because they're saying that a lot of people who rented for like 20 years, we can't increase the price because they rented for a lower price. So now I read that this law comes to the end and potentially a lot of people are going to get increase in rent. Is it correct or did I misunderstood something?
Yeah, I mean, landlords are always pushing for increasing
Right.
rent, but I haven't heard something like this. It would be nice to see that article. I'll
I
explore.
can send it to you if I will
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. I'll explore further into that. But we have such a huge lobby and for tenants basically. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but it does make sense. You know, the landlords, all of these stipulations and restrictions and everything else came about because of the slum landlords, right? Where they don't fix the properties, they treat their tenants badly, and they kick them out, and you know, do all kinds of shady business kind of thing, right? But that's not the majority of the landlords. You could have, and the slumlords, you would see those in a lower category kind of housing. But now, because the price of the house has gone up crazy, and what landlords are saying, they're getting into this game basically. People think landlords are rich and swimming in money and that kind of stuff. In majority of the cases, landlords are actually losing money because with the mortgages with the housing prices, you barely ever break even. Thank you, Sammy. I see that the comment. So with all the expenses, you barely break even. So, and this is now. So the landlord hopes that he can increase the rent, and time after time after time. And let's say he does increase it 2%, and it does cover his his mortgage payment doesn't change, right? So he levels out a little bit and starts to make money, and all of a sudden given that the unit is good and no repairs to be done for 5 years, it's all great. After 5 years, they go, oh, major reno, 20 grand,
So, hey, Yuriy, I heard that the Ontario government froze rent
Correct.
they froze it at 2020 levels, so that because of the pandemic, right? I think what Victoria might be talking about is that that's going to be lifted, right? So that people can start raising the rents as usual, because usually it's like a 4.5% annual
Well, yeah,
increase, right?
that's the case. But I
No,
didn't,
they're saying by 22%. The rent is going to increase by 22% for some of the people.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
well, don't be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I'd love to
I
see
mean,
that.
it has to be regulated, and you know, you got to make sure that if they do increase that by 20%, they got to justify why. Because some of the units, you know, haven't been renovated for 20 years, and it looks like a dump, right? So, and well, some people call it renoviction, where people or landlords are basically renovating or evicting the tenants for renovations, but then they don't let them back in, and because they have the, you know, well, a tenant has the right to come back,
Of course.
but they increase the rent much higher than actually they allow it to, because there is
I-
regulations, I believe.
Oh, I was
on how
thinking,
much. What's that?
like that somebody explained me yesterday that there are two different types. The one building is just a renting building, and one building is condominium. So in condominium, if I'm owner, so I can rent out to somebody. So those are one rules. But if you're living in rental units, like the whole building was built just for rent. So those are completely different rules. Am I correct? They're
You are
not the
correct.
same rules.
Well, you're correct, because in certain things, rental apartment is just that rental. Like Pfeffer Trust has bunch of apartment buildings that they rent out all day long, right? With the condos, the condo has a condo board, and they may not allow to those units to be rented. So the owners do it on you know, kind of at their own risk, right?
Okay.
But as far as the rent goes, it's a market rent, whether you're looking at the apartment building or condo building. I don't know if I answer your question. It's a lot deeper issue than just that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just looking for the article. I will
You know,
send it
I
to you.
just, I actually, this summer, we got a questionnaire by the city, I guess. They were asking us all kinds of questions about our rental units, et cetera. And they were asking some odd questions, like, what would you ideally like? What would make your apartment better? How about if you added an extra room? How about if you had all these features? And then at the end of it, it said, and if we added these features, what would you be willing to pay? How much more would you be willing to pay if you had laundry in your suite, or if you had the ability to have packages, a concierge and all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think they're not asking that for nothing, right?
Yeah.
They try to provide better experiences for you and give you more things and charge you more. So I can see them, the cost of adding some of these technology things to your building, it's a one-time cost, and the gift that keeps on giving. Who knows, maybe, and then they'll say, okay, you know what, you are going to pay an extra 20% on your rent because we're giving you these things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what I was trying to say, so for example, I know the lady who moved into the apartment when she was like young, and she lives there more than 40 years. So her rent is very, very cheap, even now, because she didn't move from the same location.
Smart.
And she pays like less than my mortgage. And she lives in an apartment. So what I was thinking, that maybe this law applies to her. So because a landlord cannot change her contract.
Well, it's again, it's on what do you call it, individual basis, right? I can't speak to every individual case. I haven't seen the law yet, but if the landlord, again, let's say the landlord wants to sell the property, right? So what's gonna happen? Just well, right now, if you're selling to the end user buyer that's gonna live there, it's fine. She has to vacate the premises. Technically, right?
This
It
is a
might be,
rental house, so you can't sell it.
well,
If you
it's
sell, you sell the whole
it's a
house.
rental. Oh, it's a rental apartment. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Yeah.
you can't sell it.
Yeah, so it's a
So
tough, I mean, the only way, like right now, to increase her rent, is like Ivan said, basically do major reno, that's more than
Okay,
60%, and then they can increase her rent. But then she
Okay.
has to agree to that. That's why they're sending those notices.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
So-
and you know, the unit that we have, you know, is whatever the price is here. And we met a guy that that has the same unit that we have, and he's paying. He moved in obviously a few years after we moved in,
yeah.
and he's paying $400 more than we are, right?
Yeah.
So you know that you know, they're realizing the value of the property. I guess the area down here has changed so much.
For sure, for sure. So let's carry on with it. We kind of digressed a little bit. So what again, before what's important, I guess, and how do you find the deal, right? So there was different options where you scour the internet, where you look for the affordability. But what do you start with? Like, how do you start it? Like, and I'll give you a hint. When you buy a car, what do you do first?
Start researching on the internet
For what?
for a car.
For
Well,
what?
I mean,
car?
I know what kind of car I'm looking for, right?
Are
So,
you? Are you?
Yeah, generally, I know that it's either going to be a van or an SUV, right?
Is it what color? What engine? How many
See,
seats?
yeah, I don't care about that stuff.
I think what he's getting at is that, yeah, it takes some self-analysis and figure out what you're looking for.
Yeah,
I
I wing it.
I actually do that. What I do, Yuri, is I'll type in like top whatever I'm looking for 2021, and I will start with like what the world kind of like classifies as like, the best car. And then I'll start
Right.
there and I'll look at that and I'll say, okay, what do I think about it? Maybe I don't, maybe it's like the weird Audi Q5, SUV, and
That's a good
I'm
one.
just not into it, right? So I say, okay, what's next on the list? So yeah, I do see where you're going. You're basically saying like self-analysis, what you're generally looking for.
Right, because it will the price will change drastically because, well, you say an SUV, I don't care. Then there's a good one on the market, Bentley right now. You know, would you like that one?
I didn't know that Bentley put out an SUV.
SUV Bentley. I was shocked.
Really?
Are you ready to dish out
Oh, what? Yeah,
$2
no,
million?
absolutely. I mean, if I can find an SUV Bentley in the $10,000 to $17,000 range, absolutely, I'm right there for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
And,
now
and by the way, it has to also have an absolutely amazing crash rating, right? So, you know,
So there you go. Now we're talking about the price because
yeah,
and the biggest thing is managing people's expectations, right? Because we tend to try to get more than it is in real life, right? It's we were looking for 7 bedrooms for $300,000. That's never going to happen, right?
right.
So we got to manage the expectations, and once you figure out what you're looking for and you have an idea in what price range, then we can start looking, right? And you got to be realistic, especially in nowadays when we buy in a property. Well, yesterday I put the offer in at $25,000 over the asking price, and the agent goes, well, unless you gonna improve your offer by another 125,000, don't bother putting it in.
Over asking, and they're still asking for more.
Yeah, another 125,000 on $400,000 house.
So it almost sounds like you have to manage expectations on the seller side.
That would be nice, but we have no control over that, unfortunately.
Wow.
And they, again, sometimes it's overpriced, sometimes it's underpriced to get bidding war going, right?
Right.
So it's not necessarily, so you have to know what is that particular market or that particular property worth. So
Is it legal to say something what the other side told you? Is it legal to say you have to increase the price by that kind of amount?
Yeah.
Is it legal in the first place, or is it called like how they call it, like
manipulation.
speculation?
it's well, when he told, well, technically he shouldn't disclose how much his client wants because it's not in the best interest of his client.
So it's illegal. So you can sue him.
It's
for
not
that.
ethical. It's not ethical. Let's put it that way, right?
So your client can sue him.
You know what? Do you want to get involved in a lawsuit for 5 years and
It doesn't
or
matter
you
if I want to, but theoretically he can sue you. He can sue him
it's
for
not
that.
not gonna go anywhere, trust me.
So there is no right for the consumer.
That's a legal question. You got to ask the lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. Wow.
So I know what you're saying. It's it may not be fair, right? But
No, I'm not talking about the fair. I'm talking about the rules. So I
well,
know there is a
here's the
regulation
rule.
between the rules.
Here's the rule, Victoria. I can put the house on a market for $1.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I thought that the rule was if you put the house on the market for $1, and I come to you with the offer for $1, you have to sell it to me because that's what you put it out there for.
I'm the seller. I can do whatever I want.
So if nobody else puts in an offer and I say, here's $1, you can say, no, I'm not going to do it.
I changed my mind. I decided not to.
Honestly.
Yeah. I'm a seller. I do what I want. Well, I don't.
Is that true?
If you have not
Yeah, it
entered in a
happens all the
contract,
time,
there's no
actually.
contract. Why?
It does?
Well, I have not entered into contract, right? If I signed and said, yes, I'm going to sell it to you for $1, then yes, absolutely.
That's
Okay,
right.
so when somebody makes an offer, I say, yes, I accept that offer.
Yeah.
Then it's done.
Right.
But I
But
can
if-
back away
but
from
if
that
I didn't
offer.
sign the
Oh,
contract-
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I didn't sign the contract. Said,
That makes me mad, actually.
I don't like your offer. It's the same. I mean, you can give me, I'll be listing a property for $1 million and you're going to give me $1.2 million. And I say, yeah, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, I actually know a few people who went through that process, and then at the end it was like, no, I don't like it, and then they had to start the whole process all over again looking for a new place because the seller did not want to sell.
Yeah. For whatever
Wow.
reason, their circumstances change. They just don't like, I don't know. They don't like whatever they don't like. They can walk away. You can give them, 1.2 million or to 200, 300, 500 over the asking price. They just maybe, the reason is not used, something else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Wow. That's wow, man. That's shocking.
on that,
It goes with Victoria's question, right? Like, what are the rules and is it legal and all these things? I'm realizing that things that you think would be illegal.
well, some of them may not be illegal, but they could be unethical, right?
Right.
It's we can complain about the agent or the client or something like that. Well, you can't complain about the client. It's not your client. You can't complain about it, right?
But you can't talk to their agent and say and have their agent tell you that that seller will go.
Well, the expectation the explanation was, we priced it low, so we attract the buyers. Very simple, and we expect. Look at the comparables. This house is worth 550. So and that's what we expect.
The same
But is that
situation
really
happened
what
to
you
my
expect? Because you're
friend.
actually asking for 750.
What's that?
Yeah.
The house is 550 because of the
Oh, no.
comparables,
Like
but you're asking
this house,
750.
this house is $400,000. We put 425. They ask for another 125, so it's 550, right? And he says this is the market price for this house. And I'm trying on my side to get the best deal for my client. And I say, yeah, but you listed at 300, $400,000, 399. So yeah, but that's not realistic price for that property. Like, oh, okay. So again, it's at the seller's discretion, whether it's to sell it at that price or not. Whether there's no illegal in saying my client expects more, right?
So can I ask a question? Why do people buy? Because I've just been reading a few articles here, just, on the surface here, that says that buying a house overall is cheaper if you look at maintenance and all the other things. And typically what you get out of the house in the increase, if you were to just save the increase in an investment, you typically come out ahead with renting. I mean, why would people buy?
Good question. Can we leave that until the end?
Yeah, okay. All right. Oh, listen, I'm gonna eat, so I'm gonna turn off my camera. But
Well,
I'm so
answer.
fascinated.
I'll answer it, this very quickly.
Okay.
Leverage,
Okay.
right? So when you put in that money out, you basically paying the landlord and not leaving anything to yourself. Hopefully, your salary allows you to save some money. You have to be disciplined and put the money aside as if you were making a down payment or a principal payment to yourself, right? Compared to mortgage. Now, when you buy in a property, you only, let's say you put in $20,000 or $50,000 of your own money, and you basically now, let's say at $50,000 at I don't know, you bought $500,000 home, for example, then your increase on an annual basis is 10%. So if that's 50 grand, you just made 100% on your money on annual basis. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You bet.
That's a very short explanation to that. But so once we started, I'm going to share my screen. So I was looking for comparables, and this is what I see basically. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here, this is not sold. So hold on a second. So when I see the sold property, the listing price per square foot and selling price per square foot. So you're looking at this house sold at $587 per square foot. Where's the other one? Anyway, and in the same basically category, I've seen the properties sold for anywhere between $380 to $900, or actually $1,000 per square foot. And it all depends on the finishes, right? You have different finishes, different features in the property, and so how do you find that deal? Basically, when you're looking at the properties, some of them, you see the price, but you don't. Nobody breaks it down for you. What's the price per square foot? What's the price for compared to your MPAC assessment, which is government assessment, how they evaluate your properties, right? So I'll try to explain it if I as much as I can. Okay, search. So hot sheet. So one way to analyze, and again, you don't see this. This is available to agents as well. And again, when you want to buy the house, you may want to seek a help from a professional. But A, it doesn't cost you. B, we have a little bit more information that a general public, right? So when I look at these two columns over here, that tells me, what's the difference between their assessment and the list price, right? So, and right now it's hard. It's hard because it's a seller's market and these are skewed. People are asking for well, a lot of money nowadays, but even now you can see that here on the first one it's almost 3 times the difference. Here it's just 2 times. So you got to figure out what's the difference. If we go back and you got to figure out the appearance of that property, right? Or the land, or there's something about this property why they asking 3 times versus the other one asking only 2 times of the impact assessment value. And this is, again, this is not the format where how I would explain it, because this would take literally hours and trying to explain the difference and why I think this property is a better deal than the other one, right? And both properties actually look the same. So this appears to be a good deal, but I bet you without even going further, they expecting offers on certain date. And I look here, and sure enough, it says we're going to accept offers on the 26th of the October at 5. So they are expecting a bidding war. Okay. And the other one, again, when any questions so far? Nope. So that's why one way to assess it. The other one, like I told you, is price per square foot. You analyze the sold listings in that particular area, and you see how much the property sold for per square foot, and you try to compare the interior, the exterior, the state of the property, and try to match it as much as possible, and then you kind of come up with that number. What's your list price going to be, or what the sale price should be, right? If that makes sense. Anybody? Yes, no?
Yeah, sounds like it sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah. So
It's usually what
yeah.
I've done when I'm looking for properties.
So now when can anybody give me an idea what I want to search for something, and we can we can analyze the real search.
Yeah, can we check out Woodstock for like I don't know, 3-bedroom house or something like that?
Woodstock would be Oxford, right? Oxford County.
Yeah, I guess it's close enough to there.
What are you looking for, Sam?
Maybe like a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, something to rent out.
3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Garages.
Yeah, just one attached.
Now here's the tricky part. So when I look for something like that and you want to rent out, so you want to think of the parking, which has to be private double parking, right?
Right.
And I can see here 0 matches, right? Low inventory again, unfortunately, right? So when you're looking for something specific, it may not happen right away, right, Sam?
Right.
You have to, like you said, you have to be patient. You have to find it. You have to wait for it. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference, because because this assumes you're going to have 2 parking spaces. Now further down, when I search that, like, I mean, this let me see if this going to make a difference. And I guess not, but let's do this. Maybe that will return something. Yeah, okay, so good. It returned, so we have they have 5 matches, it's sold, right? So those houses do exist. That's a good news. So that means we're, well, we haven't put the price yet, but let's do 3%. Okay, 3 bedrooms, and how about 2 bath? Okay, good. So we have that, and now we go to, if you're looking for investment purposes, you want to try kitchens below the grade, and we put 1, and see if now again it's returned 0, 0 houses, right? So that's not the case. There's no 2 kitchens in 1 house, which you can, like in loft suite or secondary suite or something like that, right? And now, if you want a tenant in there, you kind of want to have a separate entrance, correct, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so, and we returned 1 match, basically. Now, you can't do that, all of this on MLS yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a really cool program.
Yeah.
So that's the only one that we have that's returned, and it's sold for $599, or listed $599, sold for $625. And this is exactly what I was like. It's not even double, but it's you can't put 2 parking cars, 2 cars in there. It's very nice, very nice first floor. You can rent it out right away. And like we discussed with you, Sam. So what's beautiful about this thing now, let me ask a question. Is this a good deal at 625,000 as it stands?
4 bedrooms, but I mean, ideally, I'd probably only want to pay like 550 in like previous markets, but I guess it's okay, I guess, like in today's markets.
Right. So I mean, you rent it out for let's say at Woodstock, I guess 4 bedrooms. I think you still can get about 20, the whole house, you can rent it for $2,400 or something like that. At $500, sorry, 500,000 mortgage at $2,000 payment, plus the property taxes are 3,400, so roughly $300 a year, a month. So that's $2,300, and insurance $2,400, accidentals another $100. So you're break even. So is it a good investment or not?
If there's nothing better, I mean, this is literally, if this is the only house and you want to get invested, it's like I said, I think it's an okay deal. I think if you're breaking even, like it's better than nothing, because you're putting money into sort of like your mortgage bank account, I guess, if you will. So it is better than nothing, but I would only class this as like okay.
Yeah, there is nothing better on the market. And yes, out of $2,000, you a payment, your principal repayment, probably it's say $900 or $1,000, depending on what amortization is. So you're still pocketing $900 plus you getting your speculative appreciation, right? So I think it's not a bad investment, but I agree with you. This is an okay investment. But where the deal is, it's what you can do with it. So let's continue with the pictures and see if this is even possible to do something.
Wait, I wanted to ask a question. Like we're looking at the house, but we didn't look at the location. We didn't look what is inside. Do you recommend to do that as well? Or would you just look at the house and think, okay, there's like suits a price for me and I'm going to buy it because there's nothing else in the market
No.
area.
Yeah.
And saying that this is good because it suits me, kind of thing. Do you think it's a good approach, kind of thing, or how would you select?
First thing, and you heard me saying more than once, location, right? I can't stress that enough. Let me review. Okay, so there's an entrance here. There might be an entrance here too. And looks like might be an entrance over here too. And looks like a door too. There's lots of doors.
It's a big house. It's a good property. It's lakes and stuff. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, totally beautiful.
It's
So-
beautiful. It's renovated. I think they put like different ends to that, which is great. Like,
So here's the Woodstock, right? This is next to the lake, or something like that, the river, and not far from the highway. The neighborhood looks okay, so I think it's not a bad neighborhood. Again, as any, there's might be some bad areas in downtown somewhere, but Woodstock is not a old city. So I'd say it's not a bad area, but yes, you do pay attention to the area, and if you want to rent it, you want to be close to something close to, well, I mean, in Woodstock, the Toyota is right here somewhere. So it's only like 15 minutes away. 15 minutes away from work if somebody works at Toyota, or if even I don't know, there's a university or college in Woodstock, but you want to be close to somewhere it could be rentable if you want to rent it out, right?
So Yuri,
Yeah.
just so I can get an idea, what would a comparable like this cost in Toronto or in Hamilton?
I wanted to ask the same question.
Well, in
1 point something.
actually,
Because-
no,
because-
in Hamilton, it's pretty comparable. You're looking at maybe 650-ish, something like that, 700, but
So
not.
why would I pay that amount of money in Woodstock?
Exactly.
Well, Sam asked me to look up Woodstock. That's all to it.
Woodstock
okay.
is kind of up and coming. I mean, it's more of a open community feel. Like Hamilton's got its kind of like, kind of feel, right? So some people just like it. Some people like this like small town kind of peaceful,
No, I
like
get it, but
farmland
up
around
and
you.
coming to me means $150,000 off kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
And
I don't expect to pay Hamilton prices in Woodstock.
and this is, I mean, for the house like this, we paid $630 last year in October. I
Okay.
mean, that property is worth already, $700,000 for sure, more than that.
I think they have more
Woodstock.
space in Woodstock.
What's that? No, not in Woodstock, in Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
In
Whew,
Hamilton. So,
man.
but so with this kind of property, I look at it and like I agree with Sam, this is an okay property. So what you do, you rent the top for about $2,000, and you start renovating the basement, given that it has enough height, enough square footage, enough has a separate entrance. Like it's hard to tell from these pictures, like there's a 1 bedroom I can see. I don't see yet where you would put, or maybe this is a 2nd bedroom, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is, I mean, to me, this is a place for a kitchen. And yeah, there's all kinds of bedrooms up, where I don't know if that's the 1st or 2nd floor. But if you do finish the basement and turn it into a 2nd suite, and you can rent it for $1,500 or something like that, maybe 14 because it's a 1 bedroom, as from what I see now. All of a sudden, this investment becomes a cash cow, because you're about, well, either 1,400 or well, will be less than 1,400 because you have a carrying cost, you have to renovate, so you have a renovation cost. So you will pocket approximately $1,000 or $900, something like that, maybe $800 minimum on a monthly basis. So is that a good investment? Is that a good deal?
Those
me-
numbers, yeah, absolutely.
To me, that's a good deal. So it's not always what you buy, and it's what you can do with it. And I can show you the properties, other properties that there is no way in hell you can do something and increase their the property's potential. So you just have to know what you're looking for, and find a professional to guide you through it. I'm gonna stop sharing. Oh no, I don't know how to stop sharing. Oh yeah, stop share. So, well, it's nice to see your faces in the picture. It's like I'm talking to myself. Thank you. I tell you, it makes a huge difference when you don't see the faces. It makes a huge difference as a speaker. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I was just saying, I know Yuriy, when you come on to the morning coffee call and you don't show your face, I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta fix my hair just for you, okay?
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The same case that you were saying that, it's interesting case that you're saying that. So when you need to know the expectation of your potential, where you're going to
Buyer.
buy. Sorry, I was just thinking about something else. So when you, for example, as you were saying in the morning in the beginning, so you were thinking that $25,000, whatever, 40, whatever X amount of money you will add more over asking. What is the strategy should be here to put like as much as I can extra money when I'm buying, or to put lower and start negotiating a deal? Like, how would you approach that?
Well, it all depends on a particular situation. If obviously if there is no multiple offers, you're in by yourself, I would put lower than list price. For
Okay.
sure, right?
Okay.
But
okay.
In this particular situation where I see the property is well taken care of, it's done up, it's ready to go. Keep in mind, if you're looking at it as an investor, it's one thing. You don't want to pay top dollar, period, right?
Okay.
But you will be in competition with an end user, which if somebody comes in and go, oh my God, I love this kitchen, I love this sauna, I love this nuke, I something they love, or there's a garage at the back that the guy will, okay, this is my shop, we're done, we're not, so they're gonna overpay by way more than you can, and
okay.
I'm saying, do not get carried on with emotions, because you never can win. It's going to be a next property. I agree with Sam 300%. Hurry up and wait. But
I take a look at the comparables in rent, right? Like I'm buying a property in Woodstock. I'm going to rent out. I'm looking at the comparables in Woodstock right now for a house that's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and they're coming in less than what you're talking about for that house, right? To be able to walk away with 800, we're only talking about $2,000 that you're getting, right?
Well, because I remember I selected certain criterias like separate entrance. I created, I selected very specific that actually can double width driveway.
Okay, that's right. So you can create an investment. Okay, got it.
Right. So if you want to, and I get that all the time, where, like I said in the beginning, you gotta set the expectations, because again, the client we're looking right now they go, okay, we're looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car parking, those kind of things, and they go, well, what about this property? Well, this doesn't have parking, period. Well, what about this one? Well, it's 1-bedroom. Well, what about this one? Oh, well, guys, tell me what you're looking for, because I'm not a psychic. I might be a psychologist, but I'm not a psychic.
Right. But so how many times though do people say, this is what we want here, Yuriy, and then they compromise?
100%.
Yeah. Right.
100%.
They just get.
I'm guilty as charged. I told you this. I told you my story, right?
Right. Yeah, but you walk into a house and they're baking cookies and it looks a lot like grandma's house and you think, I want this place, right?
Yeah, no. Well, it's like I said, for those that don't know, that when I was buying my house and I wasn't a real estate agent at that time, I told her I'm looking for at least 2,500 square feet, newer house, up to 5 years old, and granite countertops, 3 bathrooms, 2-car garage attached. Well, that way back. Is that my time, or is that the toast?
No, that's my toast. I'll be.
So, and at that time, the price was about $400,000 that I wanted to pay, and I didn't want to pay over that. And all of those houses were coming up at a little bit higher, and I was one of those people like, oh, the market's gonna crash. It's like, and tomorrow it's gonna crash. Tomorrow is gonna crash. A year later, it doesn't crash. And then I see this property that I saw in October. And it was listed for 420 or 430 or something like that, which I couldn't. I loved it, but I couldn't afford it. And I see this property come up again for 376, and I go, whoa, I gotta run. So I called, or I texted my real estate agent at that time, and I said, I'm looking. I want to see this property, and the text was, why? Nothing matched. Not one thing matched what I was, was what I was telling her. And my response was, 78 by 200. And she goes, okay, I got it. So that's the lot. I was looking for potential. And, basically, I can build anything on here. Well, not anything, but I can build something more substantial that will create more value for me. And so we came in and we saw it at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we closed the deal because I gave her exactly what they wanted, 5,000 over asking price, done. And that was it, right? So managing, like I said at the beginning, managing expectation is huge. You almost have to be a psychic. The least you have to be a psychologist. What's driving people, like in my shoes, what's driving people? Why are they buying this property? What's going to happen in 5 years? What's their goals with this property? Are they going to be staying here for years, or it's a starting point and they're going to change it in 2 years, right? So you have to ask those questions, but and you have to ask yourself those questions. Why are you buying this property? Why this property is right for you? I guess that's the question. That's the answer. Sam, you have something brewing in your head, I can see.
Yeah. Well, I remember earlier Ivan asked like, "Hey, why would you do this? Why would you buy a house like this?" And I kind of did some math. I don't know, if this is totally accurate, but I kind of did some math. Like if I buy a house, a rental property, and I hold on to it for my like life duration before selling it, I calculated that I'll be making about $2 million gross income. And yeah, some of that might be insurance away. Some of that might go to, mortgage, which I kind of look at as like a long-term bank account, right? Like, and then, it's, little fixing stuff like that. But, essentially, if you're getting, say, 2.5K a month today, you're basically, in my estimates, looking at every single property you own for rental about that sort of price range is going to be about $2 million gross in your pocket. Am I correct in that thinking?
Well, I didn't do that specific math, but I mean, you're absolutely, like I said, first is leverage that you use in banks' money for it. Second one, it's very good point. And, when you get into savvy investor territory, basically, you start spinning it different ways. As an example, well, for you, I don't know, have everybody heard of Smith manure?
I've heard of that. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, turning bad debt into good debt, in a sense that you writing off your interest, which you can do in what do you call it? In a rental property, right? So you can write it off, all of your expenses. Now, the other one is called capital gain, right? Which everybody's afraid of. And I say, you know what? That's the best thing that can ever happen to you. Like, why wouldn't you pay a capital gain out of $2 million? Yes, you're going to have to pay whatever, what it's, let's, I don't know, 300,000, but you made $1.7 million. What's wrong with that? But the interesting part, why don't you take out the insurance, life insurance for that? And so you're whoever, you know, inherits that property, they're not gonna, your company is still gonna pay for it, and they're gonna get the insurance, and they're gonna pay that capital gain with the insurance money. Simple, brilliant, and simple at the same time, you know. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you know, you just got to know the right things to do. And again, the other one is tenants, which is a topic on its own. You got, again, you got to respect the tenant, but you got to make sure that it's a two-way street, not just, you know, you're putting out a good product and you're not getting paid. So you got to be cautious of who you renting it to. Unfortunately, it's getting worse and worse and worse, and lots of people turning to Airbnb, where they just rent to short-term rentals, and trying to get away from those headaches. So, but it, again, like I said, that's a topic on its own.
Plus, there's more money in the Airbnb model, right? In the right place.
It could be. It could be, but I mean, you know, I'm a lucky one, so I can tell you it's about 30% more, but not everybody's lucky. And again, there's lots of people that trying to hack it themselves or do it themselves, and it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. I can open an account on you know, on Airbnb, and I can run it, and it takes five positive reviews to become a host and that kind of stuff. But when you deal with the reality, and you can do it for one, that's not a problem. But when you're starting doing 2, 3, 4, it becomes a job, and then it becomes a job over some other job that you're doing.
Right.
Well, you, for example, if you take on a property management job, you're going to be diverted, right? Or what's the word I'm looking for?
There is no bandwidth there for that.
Yeah, if you only have, like, well, yesterday I was asking, or 2 days ago I was asking for an extra 2 hours in a day, right? If I could come up with those, that would be great, right?
That's right.
And I'm pretty sure the good time management person can save me those 2 hours. And I'm not saying that you know, well, when I go through the day of the real estate agent, when I'm trying to attract one, I say, what do you do for, you know, what do you do in a day? Well, you know, it's this and this and this and that, and I watch 2 hours Game of Thrones.
Hey, right.
Awesome.
How can you see my other screen here? Hang on. Let me shut off Game of Thrones right now. Hang on.
Yeah. So and even like when you call in people, and I think you and Ivan, are guilty of that. We try to stay a little bit longer on a phone call than we should be.
You're just inspirational, Yuri. So
I know. Yeah. But you know, even I talk to the client, I try to pour my soul into it, right? And I try to explain it, how it's, you know, how everything works in 30 seconds, right? Which I think is technical. Well, actually, it's what coaches are telling. It's wrong, because you want to leave the intrigue, right, for later.
So I do have one question, and then we got to wrap it up.
Sure.
And that question is, you know, you're a savvy investor guy, right? So
I'm learning.
If you were going to invest in a property, would you invest in a condo, or would you invest in a house, or a house or a townhouse?
In a short, house, hands down.
Okay. Why?
For many reasons, because Well, condo obviously you don't belong to yourself, you belong to condo corporation. They make the rules, not you. Whether, what kind of, can you put a clothing line on your balcony? Absolutely not.
So I'll take down the clothing line, close it,
Okay, can you put the satellite dish on your wall? You
You
cannot.
can't.
Can you build something in addition to your unit? Absolutely not. Can you build inside the unit?
Not without approval.
Not without approval, right? So you're in a box. Well, you're in a box.
You're in a box, literally. Yeah, right, absolutely.
Right,
And then, of course, if they don't maintain it, the whole thing collapses and you die.
Right,
hear you.
right. And you're gonna be subject to reassessments. You're gonna be subject to increase in involuntarily increase of the condo fees. The good thing, if it's your lifestyle, that's the only reason why I would buy the condo.
Right.
You don't want to cut the grass, you don't want to do the maintenance, you are happy to put up with the noises next door.
Right.
You're happy to,
Which I'm not. Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, for sure.
So it's the life choice, life choice, right? Now with the obvious,
Is it easier to rent though? Is it easier to rent a condo than it is to rent a house and get your money out of it?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, as an investment, there is no potential there, right? Again, it's one of those things. If I wanted to turn my house into Airbnb, I can. I can't do it with most of the condos.
You're limited with condos. You can't turn it into an Airbnb.
Well, people do it and ask for forgiveness, but you entering is so much, so dangerous territory, period. That's not the what do you call them? Your neighbors, your next door neighbors will call on you and say, hey, this guy's running the Airbnb, like out of envy, not that doesn't bother them.
It's not jealousy.
Jealousy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Okay.
And
all right.
So good. With Airbnb, okay, they vacate, they leave next day, and you go, okay, I'm gonna rent it to a long-term tenant, and then those people that complain are trying to pull their hair out because the tenant is more rowdy than those guests were for 2 days. But anyway,
that's right.
And remember too, Ivan, like you probably want to get cleaning staff that comes in there. So it's it's this big shuffle past the concierge. It could be a pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like I said, you can do it yourself, but it becomes a second job, and it might.
I don't think Teresa needs another second job.
The definition of investing is making money in your sleep, like Warren Buffett says, right?
That's right.
You cannot make money in your sleep if you have to clean the house.
That's right. Absolutely. No, you're right.
So, and a house, basically, it's.
And I want to be sitting in the Caribbean while it's making money, not having to fly back to clean it. You know what I mean?
And the potential in the house obviously is bigger. You can do something, you can renovate, or you can add an addition and make it a little bit bigger if your needs are growing, right? So you can't do those things.
You could split a house into a duplex where you can't really split a condo.
Right? If it's suitable for that, you still have to be cautious about that too.
I think too, Ivan, statistics show that houses will appreciate in value more than condos. Also, I think that
in a downturn, condos crash faster. That is for sure. All right. Well, listen, folks, Yuriy, I'd love to pick this up where we're leaving it off today, but we do have to kind of close it off.
Sure.
Got a little bit overtime. What? About a half an hour overtime.
15 minutes of the time.
I know. It's okay. That's why I gave you some leeway. It's good.
I have no problem blaming you.
It's good conversation. That actually, I really wanted to see what things cost outside of Ontario, outside of the GTHA, and I remember a few years ago, Teresa and I were looking at Woodstock, and you could get a really nice house for $350. For now, those really nice houses are $650, $700. So obviously, if we'd invested in Woodstock 3 or 4 years ago, we would have doubled our money, which is a pretty amazing investment in 3 or 4 years, right? So
Speaking of that, just last note, right now there's a development in Calgary, condo development at 5%, 5% down. I wouldn't, if you're here like Sam or me, I wouldn't recommend to go to Calgary, even though it's, it's just 2 hours away or something like that by flight. But you have tenants, you have relatives there, right? In Calgary or something like that.
yep, mom, brother, yep, sister. Yep.
Yeah. So you can keep a good tabs on it. What's going on with the development. It's only about $25,000-$30,000 or something like that you have to put in.
Amazing.
This is an opportunity right now.
Yuriy has his finger on the
100%
pulse
a year,
in Calgary.
What's that?
You've got your finger on the pulse everywhere, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you want to go buy a Turkey apartment in Turkey for 70 grand, let me know. I'm in.
70 grand in Turkey.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and it's a little bit longer flight. Let's put it that
A little bit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You know how much I love flying. All
I
right.
I don't know.
I don't.
Oh, you do?
I don't at all. Nope. Not this guy. And from the last time I looked at the map, I can't drive there. So
See, you're probably, you can turn off the recording on this.
okay. Yuri's gonna say something.